And welcome to the I Love CVille Show. Thank you kindly for joining us. A pleasure to connect with you through the I Love CVille Network, where our studio is located in downtown Charlottesville, but our viewership and listenership is Commonwealth-wide, Central Virginia-wide, country-wide, and worldwide on a glorious Tuesday.
Oh my
to
goodness.
be above the mud. So much to cover on today's show.
Check the feed.
So much to cover on today's show. What you're interrupting my prologue over here? My monologue? The feed better be good. What am I checking over here? His orders?
He didn't just order sandwiches.
Okay, I appreciate that. We could have saved that for later.
All right, we'll save it
for later. Skooma Boutique Dispensary, a part of the program, a presenting partner. The best dispensary in Charlottesville is located on the downtown mall with the location on Alleywood Avenue as well. Skooma Boutique Dispensary and boys and girls this Thursday night at the Clifton in Keswick and Albemarle County. Coda and Marie of Chamomile and Whiskey will be singing like songbirds. They'll have a couple of beverages, maybe some cocktails, maybe some tuna tartare, and they will help us get to the weekend. Thursday, Baby Friday, Chamomile and Whiskey at the Clifton. It's going to be dynamite. A lot to cover on today's show. Bob Yarborough, I didn't know that. Yarborough puts in the feed, they're closing Champion, the Lynchburg location as well. Something's going on there, J-Dubs. Something's going on. We'll talk about that on today's program. So here are the topics we're going to cover. And get ready for a two-shot, Judah, because I'm going to dig deep into that big, beautiful, bodacious brain of yours. Today's topics include Northern Virginia losing population. It was sent our way by Lee Elberson, one of the smartest people in Charlottesville, the CEO of Claiborne Education. Who would have thought? Who would have ever guessed that Northern Virginia was the portion of the Commonwealth that was losing the people? They're sprinting away from Nova. They're going to Dan Vegas. They're going to southwestern Virginia. They're going to Danville, the comeback city. They're coming to here, Charlottesville, in Central Virginia. Boys and girls, these statistics will startle you. That will be the lead of the show. We will also today chitter chatter Keith Woodard buying the IGA grocery store. This is big time news here. The IGA grocery store on Cherry Avenue is the first thing you see when going down Cherry Avenue, a historically African American neighborhood in this Charlottesville community, a community that is otherwise white, wealthy, and homogenous. So when we have a community like Cherry Avenue, and we understand this community needs a little TLC, a little love, because all of us want diversity and eclectic thought where we live. I certainly do. Judah certainly does. We see Cherry Avenue and one of its marquee properties, the grocery store, right as you pass the Fifeville sign in Cherry. It is going to be redeveloped after Keith Woodard and Woodard Properties purchased a handful of properties, along Cherry Avenue. The most notable, the IGA. He dropped $3.5 million. Keith Woodard of Woodard Properties. $3.5 million. He bought 5 properties along Cherry Avenue for that $3.5 million, including the grocery store that has been in disregard, disrepair, disturbing shape, demoralized shape, depressing shape, disgusting shape. I can continue with the alliteration if you'd like. One of the most iconic properties in one of the few African American neighborhoods in a white, wealthy, homogenous community has sat empty and has been forgotten for years. It has finally sold. And the person who purchased the property is a man and a company that lives locally in Charlottesville. A man in a company committed to leaving Charlottesville in a better place than when they first arrived. Keith Woodard, his reputation speaks for itself. Anthony Woodard, his son, making a lot of the game time decisions now. I'm excited to see what's going to happen to the Cherry Avenue corridor. I'm excited to see what's going to happen to Fifeville. I'm excited to see new life, resuscitation of activity in an African American community that, frankly speaking, needs, from a structure and infrastructure standpoint, a little TLC right now. So we'll talk this topic today on the show, specifically what's the best use of the grocery store site. Right now, the grocery store site is being used as the headquarters for a University of Virginia subcontractor, a construction contractor. They're based out of the Shenandoah Valley. Instead of driving to the Shenandoah Valley from the University of Virginia with all their trucks and their equipment, they rented out an afterthought grocery store and called that their satellite headquarters in CVille. I think it's safe to say that a Shenandoah Valley construction company utilizing a grocery store in a historically African American neighborhood is not the best use of that space. A home or a storage facility for heavy-duty equipment is not going to create tangible or palpable return on investment or quality of life for Fifeville and its neighbors and residents. I will chatter, analyze, along with the jack of all wits, what could be the best use of that property. We will also talk the Elements Hot Yoga closing in Stonefield. Judah, you're familiar. Let's go to the two-shot, please, if we could. You're familiar with the song, Another One Bites the Dust. Another one bites the dust. We say this with empathy and sympathy. Still, the turnover is astronomical. It's obvious. It's noticeable. It creates ripple effects in this community. Another locally owned business, how many times have we talked about this on this show, has closed in Stonefield?
Quite a few recently.
I mean, we just had this conversation last week with Champion Grill. Hunter Smith's Tap Room in Stonefield that's closed.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, I want to caveat this. And I want this. Is this camera on me right here, J-Dubs?
Yeah.
This one's here? Okay. Judah, I want to caveat this for all the viewers and listeners. Someone get John Pritzloff in the mix. Johnny Pritzloff, are you in the mix over here? Are you watching today's program? Someone tag Johnny Pritzloff. Someone get Jenny Stoner in the mix. Johnny Pritzloff and Jenny Stoner, the commercial leasing agents of Tallheimer, who manage the Stonefield property. Someone send a text message now, please, to Johnny Pritzloff. Somebody send a text message now to Jenny Stoner, please. I want them to hear this.
Is Elements being sold to someone?
Details on that. Details on that in moments. First, I want to give a take on Pritzloff and Stoner. Johnny Pritzloff and Jenny Stoner do a damn good job. Johnny Pritzloff and Jenny Stoner are arguably the most talented commercial leasing agents in Charlottesville and in Albemarle County. And it's their job to fill Stonefield. And they do a fantastic job of it. No blame or accountability rests on the shoulders of Pritzloff and Stoner. They find tenants who agree to leases, and they get them in Stonefield, and they populate the space. It is not the commercial leasing agent's team to maintain the longevity of a business. It's up to the business owner to do that. So I don't want a single person that's watching or listening to this program, and tens of thousands of you do. I don't want a single one of you to think that Stoner and Pritzloff have anything to do with the turnover that's happening in Stonefield, because they're phenomenal at their jobs. What's happening in this shopping center is a cacophony, a collision of factors. You have bad signage, you have limited parking, you have bad traffic flow, and you don't have a true local anchor to bring people to the center. You have a lot of competition. And frankly speaking, the marquee anchors, the movie theater, Regal, and the grocery store, Trader Joe's, those two types of businesses are vulnerable right now. We watch our content at home on our couch while drinking cold beers and eating pizzas on our big screen TVs and our lazy boys on Netflix, on Amazon Prime, on HBO Max. We don't spend $22 a ticket anymore, $15 for a bucket of popcorn, and $12 for beer to watch a movie that simultaneously is being released on a streaming platform while it's being released in the theater. Furthermore, people like my wife, people like your friends and family, we use grocery delivery services now more than ever. I'm going to ask you this question, and Judah, I'll pose it to you first. If Americans, if Virginians, if Charlottesvillians are streaming content more than ever, watching movies in their tighty whities while eating pepperoni pizza with some extra cheese and drinking a 3-notch Minuteman or 2, hoping the sauce doesn't dribble from the mouth and the slice down the chest while you're on the leather reclining couch in your living room with your 4.5-year-old running crazy. I'm not saying that's me. Perhaps it is. But if more of us are doing that, and more of us are ordering our groceries online and having them be delivered to our homes and our doorsteps, is the value proposition of anchor tenants like movie theaters and grocery stores, do they carry the same weight they once did? I'm genuinely asking that question.
I think some of them do, some of them don't. I mean, certainly Trader Joe's is, I think, definitely a good addition to Stonefield, and I know a lot of people love it. Movie theaters, I mean, I think movie theaters were struggling before the pandemic hit. I think the fact that we saw so many superhero movies in the last decade or so was more an indication that that movies just weren't working anymore. They're not making enough money for the movie companies to be putting out, good movies. So they put out blockbusters. People point to stuff like Maverick, and yeah, it's a great movie that does well in a theater. But try something like just a good movie that's not a blockbuster.
I'll put it in perspective.
And what do you have?
I'll put it in perspective. The Many Saints of Newark. One of my favorite shows of all time was The Sopranos. I love mafia, mob, gritty crime movies. I am struggling.
Movies about bad people doing bad things.
I'm struggling. I'm often rooting for the bad guy to win in the movie theater.
I'm sure most people that like those movies do.
I'm often rooting for the bad guy to win in movies like that. That's very true. Okay? Many Saints of Newark, The Sopranos movie, the prequel. One of the most anticipated movie releases, me personally, in some time. Okay?
Okay.
It was released on the HBO Max platform the same time it hit the silver screen. Why would I ever go to the movie theater if I can sit in my boxers in my basement while my kid's sleeping, my wife's sleeping, enjoying some Minutemen, some leftover pizza, hitting pause when I need to hit the head, hitting pause when my dog is barking, waking up my kid, and then I have to go sing him a lullaby and stroke his hair so he can go back to sleep. Then I head back to the basement and I watch The Many Saints of Newark and pick it up right when I left off. Why would I go to Regal to do that?
I mean, that's for you to answer.
I would drop $20 a ticket, plus the popcorn, plus the soda. I'm going to say this once, I'm going to say it again. Movies are dying the death of 1,000 cuts, and Judah made the point last week, they are their own worst enemies. All these streaming platforms are just eating each other's cake and market share.
Yeah.
They're cannibalizing each other. Groceries. Have you had groceries delivered to your doorstep and saved yourself the hour and change in a grocery store, plus the 25 minutes to get there and the 25 minutes to get back? You don't do it. I bet if you did it once, you would be forever changed and do online grocery delivery. It's convenient.
I like
it's
to
the
look
same
at
price.
Things. I like to hold things. I want to pick out the apple
You want to
that
squeeze the melon? You pick up the melon in the fruit section, and are you squeezing it to see if it's firm or soft? Is that what you're doing over there?
Of course.
Squeezing the melons?
Yeah.
You're sniffing the broccoli?
I don't know about that.
You like the free samples?
Can't remember the last time I saw free samples anywhere.
Do you get seduced by the packaging on the cereal aisle, and that packaging determines Cocoa Puffs or Lucky Charms?
Kind of.
You can order online, save your order, and when you go order a second time, you just click repeat order and have to do no filtering or shopping. Same price. In fact, you're making money doing online delivering because you're not gasoline to and from, wear and tear on your car to and from. You're not spending an hour in the store.
That's a little bit of BS.
How's that BS? Does your car, when it goes from your house to the grocery store, you don't burn gasoline when you drive it? How does your car get from your house to the grocery store?
That's assuming that I go from my house to the grocery store.
What are you saying? You just get it on the way home from work?
Most of the time.
Okay. So think about what you're doing from a quality of life or cannibalizing your most precious commodity, your time. You just grind it here at V&V Brands. I Love CVille. Frankly, it's not a grind. Maybe the most pleasant place to work in the entire planet. I Love CVille and V&V Brands. There's this boss that works there that's even-keeled, unemotional, certainly not lacking high energy, and just is an all-around great guy. So you leave work and you go grocery shopping? You don't leave work, go to the house, have something to drink, relax your mind, get some peace, and then figure it out? You go from work to the store?
I mean, there are also times when I have to stop at the gas station. So the grocery store is basically on the way. I've got to go out onto Pantops and then pull a U-turn to get to the gas station that I usually fill up at. Stopping at the grocery store to run inside for milk and orange juice and,
Don't forget your melons and sniffing the broccoli.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to forget that.
Do you buy melons?
No.
No. When you're in the fruit or vegetable aisle, are you touching them to see if they're firm or soft? Or are you just doing the eye test when you're picking your tomato, your melon, and your broccoli?
It depends.
Your carrots and your zucchini. Do you buy a lot of zucchini?
No, I don't buy any zucchini. I'm not sure why you're interrupting with all these completely random things. Yes, when I'm getting avocados, I'll check them. When I'm getting apples, I don't want one that's like half bruised. But other than that, there are often times when I'm just like not looking for anything in particular and just like thinking, okay, I need to eat something when I get home. What do I feel like today?
Bob Yarborough, the king of Redfields, called me what's the word? Is it anarchist? And how do I say this word? You're the wordsmith. ANACHRONISTIC.
Anachronist?
What is anachronistic?
I need to see the word.
Gosh, Bob Yarborough, you're making me think here on the fly. I'm literally copying and pasting
something that's anachronistic is something that it's like old-timey.
Belonging to a period other than that is being portrayed. Belonging or appropriate to an earlier period of time. So Bob Yarborough's agreeing with Judah Wickower. Damn, Bob, that was a SAT word right there. The journalist in me is impressed with that word. I have never seen that. You just taught me something right there. He says he sides with you. He likes to go to the grocery store, likes to see the people, likes to see the food. Frankly, I'm that way. I just don't have time to do it. My wife is so busy with our son and everything going on, it's just more convenient for the groceries to be delivered to the doorstep.
I mean, I understand. If I was buying $200 worth of groceries,
we're $200 to $250.
I would hit the button on the computer as well.
Okay, so you're saying because you're buying not as much, you're a single person, it's easier for you just to go in and out.
Yeah, I usually pull out one of those reduced size carts, or I'm just grabbing a basket and I toss I've usually got less than 12, and I can just go through that end aisle, that end cash register.
Self-checkout.
No, they don't have self-checkout at the food line.
At the food line, there's no self-checkout?
Sadly, no.
Really?
But they do have, they've got that.
Judah, when you get married and you have 13 kids, or when you get married and you have 1 or 2 kids, and your grocery bill goes from $19 a week to $219 a week. How much do you spend on groceries a week?
I don't know.
Come on, you got to have a back of the napkin.
Maybe 100. I don't know.
You spend a C-note a week?
I don't know, Jerry.
Dang, son, that's a lot of zucchini.
Okay.
Let's just say $100. When you go $100 a week and you 2.5 exit to $250, and that $100 a week goes to $250 a week, and it takes exponentially more time to fill the cart.
Yeah.
Then you're going to do some online ordering, and then you add a 4.5-year-old in the grocery cart with you, and then your worst nightmare.
Pulling everything off the shelves.
Your worst
tossing them in
nightmare
the
maybe
basket.
going down the cereal aisle as your 4.5-year-old rambunctious son sees chocolate bunnies and sees Rice Krispies and sees all these cartoon characters like the Lucky Charms saying, "Oh, I want that cereal," puts it in the cart. "Oh, I want that cereal," puts it in the cart. "Oh, I want that cereal," puts it in the cart. Or he tries to play baseball in aisle 7 with a baguette and a rotten onion.
Are you making an argument for vasectomy?
Maybe so. Snippet.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Maybe so.
I wouldn't want to be spending an hour and a half, marching down every aisle in a grocery store
with a 3.5-year-old,
with a kid in tow,
4.5-year-old,
probably needing a second shopping cart.
Kelly Jackson says, "I never go in the grocery store. I just order online and pick up my groceries. My time is money." That's literally how we feel. I'm saying amen, enter, respond. So the question is this, the topic is this, and we have a lot to cover on today's program. A lot to cover on today's show. And groceries are a theme of today's show. You got the IGA on Cherry Avenue that just got purchased by Keith Woodard. And you got Stonefield that's hemorrhaging local tenants. And we're asking if Trader Joe's and the movie theater still have the same allure, the same sex appeal, the same draw, the same magnetic reach of customers they once had. And I'm trying to make the argument, and I think you agree with me, sounds like you agree with me, that the grocery store and the movie theater is not nearly as sexy an anchor tenant as it once was. The grocery store and the movie theater used to be Pam Anderson circa Baywatch with Mitch Buchanan and Hobie Buchanan. Remember CJ, Pamela Anderson, running down the beach in that red one-piece suit as she was trying to rescue some lives? That was every teenage boy's fantasy, maybe yours included.
I think I was
Pam Anderson is to Trader Joe's and Regal from 15 years ago, as Pam Anderson is to Trader Joe's. That's a terrible analogy. I'm basically saying Pam Anderson got a little bit older, and Trader Joe's and the movie theater have gotten a little bit older too. It's not the same CJ from Baywatch running down the beach trying to rescue some kids in the ocean. And when she was running down the beach, I don't see how she didn't knock herself out. And I'll leave it at that. Okay? They're not the same Pam Anderson, the grocery store, and the movie theater for the shopping centers. They just aren't. The grocery store and the shopping set, the grocery store and the movie theater, the Pam Anderson have gone through a lifetime of partying with Tommy Lee. And now they look a little rough around the edges. And not nearly as sexy or as appealing as an anchor tenant as they once were.
In the case of Trader Joe's, I think I disagree. But the problem there is that I don't know that many people that go somewhere to do their grocery shopping and then decide to afterwards go wander up and down the shops.
I also don't think people are doing that anymore. I agree with you. I think our cell phones, our smartphones, and social media have taken our attention spans and whittled them down like a number 2 pencil after a standardized test.
Some people didn't have much
yours truly
to spare to begin with.
Yours truly, me specifically. And now it's even worse. The thought of going to dinner, then a 2-hour movie, then walking around for an hour or 90 minutes around the shopping center is like getting 1,000 toothpicks and pricking me with each one of them all at the same time.
Yep.
That literally right there would take 6 hours of time. Call it 5 hours. Dinner on a Friday night, you're going to drop 2 hours. Probably $1.50 if you're on a date, me and the wife. I'd have a couple of drinks, maybe 3. She'd have 1 drink. We'd have some appetizers, an entree. We would not do dessert. That's $150. Then we walk across the street to Regal, a couple of movie tickets, maybe a box of popcorn and a soda, because the popcorn makes you parched. That's what? Another $80. I'm now at $230 before I start walking around and do some window shopping. If I've spent $230 and my wife goes to window shop, she's not window shopping at Brooks Brothers. She's not window shopping at I don't even know what's in Stonefield anymore. But she's not window shopping at any of these fancy stores. I'm taking her to the dollar store to window shop. You want to window shop after we just dropped $230, $150 on dinner, another $80 on the movie theater? Let's go look at some Slinkies in the storefront of the dollar store. Maybe we'll spring from some bouncy balls.
That's why the dollar store is booming right now.
Dollar store's kicking ass and taking names. Inflation is good for the dollar store, the Dollar Tree, and Family Dollar. That's where I'm window shopping. Dollar General. Can you come up with any of them?
If it's got dollar in the name, it's probably booming.
It's such a smoke and mirrors, though. Because you go into some of these stores, stuff ain't $1. There's one of them. What's the one that actually sells stuff for $1? All the other ones, it's marketing. One of those, either Dollar Store, Dollar Tree, Family Dollar, or Dollar General, actually sells stuff for $1 or less. Which one is it, viewers and listeners?
Yeah, but the other problem is that even if they are selling stuff for $1, it's not the same. It's not the same product. So if you've got let's just say you get a 32 ounce drink would be like.
Are we talking cold beer?
Would be just like a soda or.
Okay.
Juice or something would be like $3 or $4 at X grocery.
Say
store.
Wegmans, Kroger, Giant, Harris Teeter.
And then what you find at the dollar store is the 5 ounce version that's $1. So yeah, it's cheaper, but it's often also smaller.
Marquise is watching. He says it's Dollar General. Kevin Yancey says it's Family Dollar. That's everything is $1. Which one is it, guys, that is everything is $1 or less? One of them, it's $1 or less. The other one, it's smoke and mirrors and a marketing gimmick. Which one? It's still cheaper.
Yeah.
But it's not actually $1. So, other topics we're going to cover today. The grocery is the theme today. Elements is closed in Stonefield. Champion Icehouse is now closing on Tuesdays in Gordonsville.
I guess Tuesday.
Dude, in the last 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, I'm not going to throw shade. The proprietor of this company is throwing quite a bit of shade to me personally. I'm not going to throw shade back to him. What is it in the Bible? It's eye for an eye. I'm not going to do eye for an eye now. What's the other one? 2 wrongs don't make a right or whatever?
I don't think that's in the Bible.
Okay. Did Joseph do anything that I can use for this here?
You could use
turn the other cheek. Can we talk about Noah?
You could use turn the other cheek.
How about Abraham?
What about
I'm going to turn the other cheek. Okay.
There you go.
Who turned the other cheek? Jesus. Jesus turned the other cheek when Judas tried to screw him. Judas did screw him. Right?
Yeah, kind of.
What do you mean, kind of? Judas sold Jesus for some gold coins.
Silver
coins. Sold them out, right?
Yeah.
Okay, he screwed them, right?
It's also necessary in the grand scheme of things, I would have
Judas
to say.
Deep over here. Judas is a smart guy. Judah is a smart guy. Okay, we're not going to go biblical today. I know I started it. I know I started. All right, this is what I'm going to talk about. Here we go. I'm turning the cheek. I'm not throwing shade. He's throwing shade our way on a number of occasions. That's his prerogative. All I'm reporting is facts. Champion Grill is closed. A sign was put on the door. The employees didn't know about this until the bottom of the 9th inning. Champion Icehouse is now closed on Tuesdays, where they previously were open on Tuesdays. The coffee shop, Brews on High, is for sale. Champion Lynchburg is closed. I don't see Brazier or Cezanne open very much. And the business next to it, Brazier Superset.
Yes. Cezanne Super.
I don't even know what it's called. I never see that open. Do you?
No.
Have you ever been in there?
I've never been in there. I have seen people in there, but not in at least a month.
I go downtown every day.
At least a month or two.
I'm constantly supporting local businesses. I've never been in there.
Superette Saison.
Superette Saison. Do you understand the concept of what Superette Saison actually is?
Looking at it right, it's wine, beer, and spirit store plus holiday gift baskets.
Okay. So it's a place in the downtown mall that sells wine and beer and holiday gift baskets.
I'm not sure what that look is for.
Just find it curious. I'll leave it at that. All I'm reporting today is the Icehouse in Gordonsville is cut its hours down, and now Tuesday's completely off the table.
Yeah.
There's been no conjecture, no shade throwing, nothing said out of turn by me. You would agree?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you've gone on and on and on about how
Something
you're not throwing shade.
Something is going on,
but
that's all I'm saying. Something is going on, that's all I'm saying. Bob Yarborough's watching the program. He is a smart guy that we respect and trust. He sends us this message about the Wawa on 5th Street. This intersection is turning into an absolute cluster duck. Quack, 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 quack. I said duck. Quack, 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 quack. It's turning into a cluster duck. Can't get in trouble for saying duck. I'm trying to limit profanities on this talk show because I know a lot of parents watch with their kids in earshot. I said duck. Quack, 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 quack. Bob sends a very fantastic message to us this morning that is shaping the discussion today. What in the world is going to happen at 5th Street when Wawa construction begins? That intersection is a poop show at sometimes, I said poop, he used a different word, is a poop show at sometimes during the day already, and I can't even conjure a traffic flow solution that would be tenable there, both entering and exiting. And that not only includes during construction, but also right after the Wawa is open. Right now, whoever owns that property needs to clean it up. It's rapidly becoming an eyesore. Finally, here's to a productive and stress-free day, sir. Bob Yarborough, I love you. If you were here, I'd offer you a Minuteman from our fridge. I'd give you a chest bump, and we would shoot the you-know-what. I've said on this talk show for months, have I not said this for months about that intersection?
Yeah, I mean, it's a mess.
It's a mess. It's going to get worse. The Wawa is going to do considerably more business than the Hardee's ever did. The Wawa is going to do more business than the Hardee's ever did. Marshall's is doing more business than AC Moore did. The businesses in 5th Street Station are coming back online in this endemic post-COVID world. We will have more cars in that intersection when the Wawa is finished than arguably ever in the history of that intersection. Is the Wawa intersection turning into 5th Street Station off 5th Street Extended, the worst intersection in Charlottesville, Virginia? Can this intersection now compete with the cluster duck, quack, 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 that is Route 29 and Rio Road? The Route 29 and Rio Road intersection has vastly been improved with that new underpass, overpass situation they did at Rio. Mm-hmm. Okay? That one is manageable now. What is the worst intersection in Charlottesville, Virginia? You come down Pantops in the morning and you're at the base of Freebridge by High Street. Hey, we got some viewers and listeners outside checking us out. The High Street, Pantops, Freebridge intersection, I do that one coming from eastern Albemarle County, now living in the Keswick area. That one is brutal. That one is brutal. Traffic backs up on Pantops and it can be an absolute nightmare. I want to ask you this. What is the worst intersection in the city of Charlottesville? And does the Wawa 5th Street Station intersection take the cake as the worst one in town? Do you have anyone you want to add to that?
I don't know if there's I don't know if any of them are quite as bad as as that right there.
Because your parents live that way.
Yeah.
KJ, what do you got over there? KJ, talk to me, KJ. Talk to me, KJ. Which one's worse, KJ? Marquise Johnson says hydraulic 250 is the worst. That's a bad one. That's a good call. I'm responding to that message that you just sent, Marquise Johnson. Good call. Hydraulic 250 is the worst one. Kevin Yancey in Waynesboro says this: when everything is up and running, Fifth Street will rival anything on Route 29 as the worst intersections in town. I agree 100% with that. Mm-hmm. I agree 110% with this. And are they not building more density in another apartment complex that way? Paul McCarter, are you watching here? King of Southside, are you watching King of Southside? What's coming across from Fifth Street Station? Philip Dow in Scottsville says Pantops is the worst. Jack Maxwell, the tremendous golfer, says Scottsville Road and James River is pretty horrible too. I believe an apartment complex is coming across from Fifth Street Station. And I know Kyle Redinger is building a campus of some kind, a working campus of some kind across from Fifth Street Station. We are about to get thousands of more cars down Fifth Street Extended in the very near future. Thousands.
What kind of a campus?
It's kind of like an epicenter for like businesses, like a business campus, where he's building this like office buildings and stuff and he's already got a tenant to take the place. Kyle Redinger is a mover and a shaker locally. Marquise Johnson, he says, but y'all push for more growth. It's such a fine line, and he makes a good point. Look, strategic growth. We got to grow rooftops because we have an affordability crisis, and everyone deserves a chance to own a home. But if we're going to grow rooftops and we're going to grow development, we need to do it in a way that is accommodating of infrastructure and prioritizes infrastructure. Adding density to the south side of Charlottesville without improving the school space or the bus driver situation, or without unwinding the Fifth Street Station intersection and making it better, is stupid. Mm-hmm. It's stupid. It's putting the cart before the horse. It literally is putting the cart before the horse. Man, the Charlottesville Fire Department is acting as crossing guards. Do you have those photos?
Yep.
Can you show them on screen? Put them on screen if you could.
They're on. One of them is, at least.
They're on? Mm-hmm. I love it. The fire department in Charlottesville, heroes. I stand with Blue. I stand with police. I stand with the fire department. I stand with anybody that puts their lives on the line as their profession for the safety and betterment of us. I catch so much flack on this program when I make comments like, I stand with Blue, the police, and I stand with the fire department. And it's okay. I don't mind catching the flack, and I still stand with the police and the fire department because these dudes and these dudettes are leaving their house and they're uncertain if they're going to return home safely or alive at all. I don't have that risk, talking into a microphone or managing the brands of my clients. You're rotating those photos? Mm-hmm. When you see someone from the fire department, give them props. Look at what they're doing here. Helping kids cross roads and get to school because they know the city's school bus system is in disarray with not enough drivers. Props to the fire department. Love it. Now let's go with the lead topic of today's show. Dude, Northern Virginia is becoming a ghost town. I want your intellect on this as well, Judah. Every year, the Internal Revenue Service, the IRS, releases migration data documenting how many people have moved based on where they filed their income tax form from.
Yeah.
So the IRS, this is very applicable and accurate data. You're telling the world, the IRS, where you're filing your taxes. That data is being scraped by census outfits and demographers. One of them I see around the squash courts. and Hamilton Lombard, a demographer at the University of Virginia's Weldon Cooper Center for Public Service. I want you to rattle off. Do you have the article in front of you?
Yeah, I think
you
so.
find the portion of the article that shows how quickly people are leaving from Northern Virginia, where it talks Arlington, Fairfax. You take a moment to find it.
How
and you
quickly?
Yeah, at the clip that they're leaving, the frequency they're leaving their cities, okay? You read that portion. I'm going to read the quote from Hamilton in the Cardinal News. Check out cardinalnews.org. Cardinalnews.org. There's two fantastic statewide websites that I read often. Cardinalnews.org and Virginia Mercury. So Hamilton Lombard, a demographer at the University of Virginia's Weldon Cooper Center for Public Service, said this, quote, Northern Virginia, like many other urban areas, pulls in young adults and loses older adults who have either retired or got to a place in their career where they don't have to work in large, expensive urban areas. The populations of many Northern Virginia localities are now declining because they are losing even more older adults and not attracting as many young adults. The vast majority of Northern Virginia's population are not from the area, so it is not surprising that many residents don't stay when they find a better job or a cheaper place to work or retire. You know what he's saying? He's like, these people aren't from Northern Virginia. They took a job there, so
And
they don't
once
have
the job
true
is over, they're
loyalty
leaving.
there.
Yeah.
They're not building roots. Charlottesville, right? Take Charlottesville. My wife and I live here. We own businesses here. I would love if our son stayed here. We have roots in the community. I pound my chest singing the praises to Charlottesville to anyone who will listen. I evangelize the quality of life in Charlottesville to anyone who will listen. Is that same evangelization happening, that same loyalty happening in Fairfax, McLean, Arlington, and Northern Virginia? Nah, dog. No way, dude. It's not. Because the quality of life sucks. Traffic is a problem. Choose my words. I was going to say something. Traffic is a problem. You're waiting often. The cost of housing is the most expensive in the Commonwealth is in Northern Virginia. All you're doing is chasing a job while working in Northern Virginia. You're chasing a paycheck. And chasing a paycheck does not breed loyalty or roots in a community. Give them the data. Give them the data, Judah. Give them the data.
It's important. It's important to note that all these numbers are from pre-pandemic, which means that it's going
to get worse.
It's probably a lot worse already.
It's worse now. Yeah, these numbers are from 2020.
Yeah.
These numbers are from 2020, before the pandemic. Bravo to Judah Wickhauer. So these numbers, the people exiting Northern Virginia are going to be at a greater clip when we see the 2022 data. These are numbers from before the pandemic. Now we can work remotely. We can work remotely, so they're losing more people. Give them the data, Judah. Give them the data.
So, Alexandria, let's see. This guy talks about out-migration and in-migration, and, it's obviously people moving out versus people moving in, and then there are some numbers that he talks about involving, deaths over births. But in this case, he says Alexandria has seen more out-migration than in-migration every year since 2009. The difference, here are the numbers. The difference, 2009, the net out-migration was 466 people. In 2020, that number had increased to 5,042. Arlington, in 2011, saw net out-migration of almost 2,800 people. In 2020, that had risen to just over 8,000. Fairfax County, the worst.
Tell them.
2010, net out-migration was 6. That's 6 with an S-I-X.
6 people. And now?
In 2020, it was 14,231.
14,221?
231.
Keep going.
Nothing is as dramatic as those numbers. We've got Fairfax City, which went from 79 in 2009 to 176 in 2020.
And here's the other thing of note.
Church went from let's see, went from 380.
Here's the other thing of note.
It's actually going up and down.
Here's the other thing of note. The people moving out of Northern Virginia make more money than the people moving in.
And what's even worse than that is that while some of the people moving out of Northern Virginia are moving to other parts of Virginia, the people that make the most money out of those leaving Northern Virginia, those people who make the most out of all the people are not moving to other parts of Virginia. They're moving to other states.
They're moving to Florida.
Which means not all of them.
Well, some of them. No state income tax. The Wild West when it came to COVID.
He goes through the numbers on that as well.
In 2020, the average adjusted gross income of those moving into Fairfax County was $99,374. That's good money, right? But think about this. The average adjusted gross income of those moving out of Fairfax County was $106,356.
Yeah.
The wealthy are moving out of Northern Virginia. Northern Virginia is losing citizens and bodies at a faster clip than anywhere in the Commonwealth. Northern Virginia, its traffic, its cost of living, and its lack of quality of life are causing a complete demographic shift within the Commonwealth of Virginia.
And here are some more numbers. The ex-Fairfax County residents with the highest incomes were the 173 who moved to Sarasota, Florida. They averaged almost $386,000. The 52 people who moved to Indian River, Florida, averaged $311,000. The 259 people who moved to Palm Beach, Florida, averaged $298,000. In contrast, the 68 who moved to Roanoke averaged $71,000. And here, this is almost funny. By leaving Fairfax County for Roanoke, those 68 people had the effect of raising the median income in both places.
Some of those people are moving to Charlottesville, and they're bringing their big bags of money with them after selling their 1,400 square foot townhomes for $1.5 million. They sold a 2,000 square foot home for $2.5 million, and they're sprinting to Charlottesville and Central Virginia with bags of money like Scrooge McDuck spitting gold coins out of his mouth after he went swimming in his mound of coins in DuckTales. The Northern Virginia exodus is something to watch closely because of how wealthy these citizens are. If they're sprinting to Charlottesville and Central Virginia, if they're sprinting to Dan Vegas, the comeback city in southwestern Virginia, they undoubtedly will cannibalize housing and drive up the cost of living for those communities.
What's important to note is that at least if they're moving to those places, that money is, their tax money is still going to Virginia. When they move to places like Florida or literally any other state, the tax money that they send to Virginia is zero. And that tax money is used to pay for schools and all the things that we've been talking about recently.
Exactly right.
Bus drivers, teachers, things like that.
This is a big deal. This is a big deal. I will share the article in the comment section of my personal Facebook page, facebook.com/Jerry Miller Now. Go to my personal Facebook page, follow me, and look in the comment section. I just posted the article. You gotta read this. You gotta read it. Travis is watching in Danville. He says this: I used to work in Northern Virginia, in the Merrifield area. It was nothing to take 30 minutes to travel 2 to 3 miles. Half hour plus in the car to go 2 to 3 miles, Judah.
Yeah.
Jamie Turner, the mayor of Gordonsville, repping the pep and Culpeper. I would not have gone up there after college if the salaries were comparable elsewhere in the Commonwealth. But with COVID and remote work and being able to keep the salary, it was a no-brainer. He's now got a mansion in Culpeper. He lives with his beautiful wife, and now they wine and dine at the Alley Light, eating some of the most delicious meals that Jamie Turner has ever had in his life. Jamie Turner, you made a fantastic decision, and I hope you enjoyed the duck breastplate from the Alley Light a few days ago.
Yeah.
Why would you work in Northern Virginia
if you didn't have to?
If you didn't have to. Why would you do it?
Maybe you love the city.
Maybe you like inhaling exhaust fumes while waiting in traffic.
Some people love a good city.
Maybe your zest for life involves sitting in traffic. Who knows? Thank you, Jamie Turner, for that comment. We appreciate you. Lonnie Murray, the planning commissioner of Albemarle County, watching the program. We love you, Lonnie. He says this, which is why it's so important to learn from that sprawl strophere. Wow, he made up a word. Sprawl strophere, and not repeat Northern Virginia's mistakes. Amen, brother. And that's why you're in office. Amen, brother. Thank you, Lonnie. I'm going to respond to your comment and say, amen. Go to the comment section of my Facebook page and read the article. All right, I have a conference call in 90 seconds, Judah. We're doing it at 1:30 today instead of 1:45. Mm-hmm. I'm going to have to save some of these topics for tomorrow. What is the best use of Keith Woodard's property on Cherry Avenue in Fifeville? It's certainly not in its current form a headquarters for a contracting outfit out of the Shenandoah Valley that works at the University of Virginia. The best use of that property is a grocery store with some affordable housing. The best use of that property is taking a historically black community and offering it a grocery store as opposed to its current status of food desert. The I Love CVille Show will always champion the underdog. We will always fight for those that are living on the financial margin, and we will always go to bat for those that we think are being taken advantage of. And Fifeville, a critically important neighborhood in Charlottesville City, one of the last African-American neighborhoods in Charlottesville City, hasn't had a grocery store nearby it for some time. And if you don't think that's a big deal, that's because you're living in a bubble, because you have a vehicle, disposable income, and can drive around and get to grocery stores that aren't down the street from you. If you rely on public transportation, how difficult is it to carry 20 bags of groceries while getting off the bus during a thunderstorm or a snowstorm? It's freaking brutal. You don't want to do it. Put a grocery store in Fifeville and get the community what it needs. We'll talk about that tomorrow. This is the I Love CVille Show. My name is Jerry Miller. Judah Wickhauer is the jack of all wits. Judah Wickhauer will close on this. Put the influence of what we have here on the show. Scott Aaronworth heard us talking yesterday about Amato's in Maine. Judah Wickhauer said the best Italian subs in the world are at Amato's in Maine.
Everybody in Maine knows it.
Everyone in Maine apparently knows it. Scott Aaronworth spent over $200 because Judah Wickhauer recommended that, buying pizzas and Italian subs and overnighting fees of $83 because Judah Wickhauer said this place is good. No pressure. He says in the feed, your reputation depends on what he tastes tomorrow.
I'm
he
jealous.
says if the food's not good, he's coming after you. He's going to whip you, boy. That's what he said.
Well, if he doesn't like the sandwich, I will take any of them that he doesn't eat.
Scott, you're going to like him. I think you're going to like him. Judah's got good recommendations. All right, we got to get out of here. I'm 30 seconds behind on my conference call. Judah Wickhauer, Jerry Miller. These topics and more tomorrow on the I Love CVille Show. So long, everybody.